became a symbol of deification, which is you can become gods. That's what deification means. The garment in early Christianity became a symbol of the type of body that the resurrected soul would be clothed in. Understand what I'm saying? The garment that they would wear after, so they'd go down to the font, they'd be baptized in some cases by 3 immersions, and then they'd come up out of the font and be anointed from head to toe again. And this was a type of what they expected would happen in the afterlife, where in being anointed from head to toe with oil, after that they would receive a garment. Just like in the case when their body comes up out of the grave, their spirit comes up out of the grave, it would be clothed in a glorious garment, which represented the deified, perfected body that they had. So that was the typology, that was the similarities, the symbolisms that they applied to the garment. In some cases, not like the center of Jerusalem, lecturing on the mysteries, 4th century, says that the garment is a symbol of the clothing that wrapped Christ's body in. They centered their mysteries, their rituals around the wounds of Christ. And so, let me just present this here by Clement of Alexandria, so you get an idea of the interpretation of the garment back in that particular time. You know, there was a lot of diversity in early to that of Christianity. They had different opinions, different interpretations. You know, they all didn't agree on everything. Clement of Alexandria says, he also seems to hint symbolically to the types and the mysteries. The garment is symbolic in a number of things in early to that of Christianity. In this case, Clement seems to suggest that the garment is symbolic of Christ and the type of glorious body that he has. The Christian would also be clothed in the same sort of glorious immortal body, and thus the garment was a type of that which was to come in the resurrection. For Christ was to be near them, says Clement of Alexandria, near them as the garment of their skin. He wishes to save my flesh by enveloping it in the robe of immortality. And he hath anointed my body. Clement then seemed to have hint to the rites of passage. Rites of passage meaning that rituals that would take you symbolically from one realm of existence into another realm of existence. And you're ritualistically prepared for that journey. That's what rites of passage basically means. Meaning the rituals that were a type of that which was to come, when the soul would pass from one realm into another. For he wrote, and if they pass over, they shall not slip. And he uses a little bit of Isaiah 43:2, saith the Lord. He goes on to quote, saith the Lord. For we who are passing over to immortality shall not fall into corruption. For he shall sustain us. Later, Clement again hints to anointing and being deified, perfected, and becoming partakers of the Lord's immortality. And this is found in the Ante-Nicene Fathers, Volume 2, pages 211 to 13. Origen, a 3rd century Christian. Hieronymus Bosch possibly might have known of people that might have had near-death experiences that describe the tunnel that they go through. And hand clasping at the bottom there is on a funerary monument. Very common thing you find in Greek funerary monuments, Latin, all over the world. They've got, or at least the old world area, this was a custom, a way of depicting the transition from one realm into the next, where you're greeted by loved ones, or you are greeted by God with the hand of fellowship, or a helping hand, or a greeting hand clasp. And then coming up out when they come up out of the grave, or out of the spirit prison, you see a lot of artworks of the person being, of different ones being naked, because later on, as they ascend into paradise, they'll be clothed in a royal robe, and then crowned king and deified. So, the ritualistic journey of the soul through the different realms of existence brings us to that point, of deification, becoming a joint heir with Christ, being crowned king and a queen, and a lot of different early Christian writers bring out this sort of thing. Origen, in defense of the Christian mysteries, which Celsus had attacked, Celsus is an early anti-Christian. In the rituals of the Christians, like Origen defended the doctrine of deification. Clement of Alexandria, I mentioned. Justin Martyr was one, and there's just a number of early Christians that taught the doctrine of deification over and over again.
Welcome to Religion Online. This evening, I'm pleased to announce that we have in studio as guests Professor Stephen Ricks and Professor Daniel Peterson. They're here to talk about a topic that they have a particular interest in, and I guess we could find that as our Mormons Christians. And they've recently written a book on that topic called Offenders for Word, subtitled How Anti-Mormons Play Word Games to Attack the Latter-day Saints.
My name is Daniel Peterson. I'm a professor of Arabic and Islamic Studies at Brigham Young University. I'm Stephen Ricks. I'm associate professor of Hebrew and Semitic languages at Brigham Young University and associate dean of general and honors education there.
Hello, caller. Are you there?
Yes.
Your first name, please.
Phil.
Phil, thank you for joining us. Phil, your question or comment for our guests?
Well, I think you've hit some good points, but I think you've departed from the basic things that differentiate Mormons from Christians. You haven't talked about doctrinal differences. The thing that makes a Mormon unique is the body of knowledge that departs from the Orthodox Christian doctrine that you can pretty well, it's not totally definite, but the doctrine of the Christian doctrine has some definite basic things that the Mormon theology departs from. There's got quite a list of them. For example, they believe in God has a body, and God. They believe in three separate, distinct personalities involving God, and that separates them from the Trinity believers.
You know that a recent article in the Harvard Theological Review argued, I think quite persuasively, that for the first several centuries of Christianity, probably the majority of Christians believed that God had a body.